What is up? Happy, what is it, Thursday night, bro?
It is already, yeah.
Monthly coaching with a co-host. We got a special guest I'm super excited about tonight. The one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. James Whitley. Welcome, bro.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You got it, man. Thanks for being in here. You know what? This is one of the, I say this on almost everything I do. This is one of the funnest things I do. I got to stop saying that about everything I do. But you know what? This industry, it's like, dude, how can you not have some fun, man?
Your
right?
entire day is fun, yeah.
Yeah. Especially when mine is like this and, selling some leads and helping some agents, so why not?
Love what you do and you'll never work a day in your life. Right?
Dude, boom. Already dropping bombs, right? we need a James is the director of operations for Senior Life Services out of Vero Beach, Florida. He's a like I call Landon like the Greek freak, like I'm like, if you think about the Greek freak of the NBA, that's like Landon of marketing because he's also like 6'9", and he's a basketball fan. You're like I got to figure out what it is, but you're like that, like a silent but deadly man. You're not flashy, you're not out there, you're not like you're not putting out content every 8 seconds, but you're.
Well, that's your biggest criticism of me, though. So.
Dude. Yeah, well, dude, I mean, you know what? But all the knowledge is like amazing, and I'm excited to share some of that. So make sure that you get your questions in live chat. We do this every single month. If you're on your free trial, dude, get out of that free trial and freaking commit to being a part of the Success Society forever.
Everybody needs a great coach.
Lifetime contract. Yeah, everybody needs a coach in life. Yeah. James believes in coaches and mentors, and that's one of the things we'll probably talk a little bit about because I think it's unique and what's cool about Success Society. We're watching the questions, not on my phone this time. Last time with Ramiz, I was like, well, we don't have any. I haven't seen any questions. And they're like, what are you talking about? There's been a ton. So I've got a computer now because my phone froze last time.
You're making me follow Ramiz, so this is a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Hey, can you hear him okay audio wise, Dylan? We're good. Everything's good. You can hear him wise, audio wise, and all that. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You want me to?
You might scoot your chair up a little bit.
Or you can pull that towards you too if you want.
Sorry.
Whatever's good, dude. Casual. We're hanging out. We're about to spit some game. So let's give a little background on you for those that don't know you, and just kind of tell them about Mr. James Whitley.
So, Reader's Digest version.
That's good.
I grew up like a lot of you guys probably watching. My parents instilled in me at a young age. Go to school, get good grades, and then you got to get a good job with a good company, right? And then you work there 30 years, you work your way up, and you get a 401k and all this. I heard it all, and that's always what my dad instilled in me. And I graduated from the University of Florida in 2008 with a finance degree, and that's all I ever wanted to do, right? Wall Street was my jam. It was my favorite, the movie, and then I wanted to go work on Wall Street, and I wanted to do that and work my way up, and I had the whole thing figured out. I'd done internships. It was all gravy. And then, as I joke now, I'm still a huge Gator fan, but I say that the degree I got is worth less than the frame that it's in. And
Why do you say that?
Because 2008, the entire financial market collapsed. So
Yeah.
every person that I ever knew that had a job that I wanted to be like all these guys, that were older than me, that had got, they were in Wall Street and had the nice cars and the nice places and all this, and none of them were employed. So not only was the market collapsing, but all these guys that said they were going to hook me up, they all lost their job. And so, I bounced around a couple different places. In hindsight, it was great that it happened to me at 20, 21 years old. And I got a job at Merrill Lynch, and I got pink slipped from them because Bank of America bought them.
I don't think I knew this part.
So Bank of America bought Merrill Lynch. I was in their training program. Right? They guaranteed to pay me for 3 years. Like, I'll ride this out through the recession, and I'll work my way back up. And I thought I was so cool. And, so I bought all these suits. So I got to wear them, right? And wore a suit every day and loved it, and was, cold calling, doing all that stuff, which, obviously helped me where I am today. But I remember spending my entire salary on a New Year's Eve party. And my best friend and partner, Grant, was there, and his dad was there. So he was trying to recruit me to do insurance. I was like, I'm working at Merrill Lynch. Like,
Come on now. I don't need insurance.
And so we blew the whole thing. We ran out a rooftop in downtown Orlando, and then showed up to work January 2nd, and Bank of America announced on New Year's Day that they had bought Merrill Lynch, and they let us know that the program that we were in that didn't exist at Bank of America, and here's 1 week's worth of pay, and good luck to you. And I was like, but I signed a contract. And they're like, yeah, you didn't sign it with us. And so that was the day that I decided that the next person that was going to fire me was going to be me.
Wow.
And so I got my real estate license, and I was like, all right, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to hustle. I'm going to do all
Yep.
this. And I just couldn't find the right niche. And I finally caved. Talking about basketball, it was actually at a butterfly effect, right? So Grant and his dad came up for a Magic game, and we were sitting around talking, and his dad rolls up in a Bentley talking about how like business could not be better. And he was the only person in 2009 that could utter those words that I had. And so, I did one of those no regret moments and got my car the next day, drove down to Vero Beach, and the rest is history. So that was 10 years ago, July.
Wow.
And
Congrats, man.
So he wanted us to figure out, I always told him I didn't want to, at 22, be the guy going door to door. He already had Florida pretty saturated. So he basically told me for me to be successful at SLS, I was going to have to move. I didn't want to move. And so he said for his son, Grant, and I to figure out how to do it over the phone. And so we did that, and it took a long time and a lot of sweat equity, but certainly glad we did.
So just jumping into telesales, not knowing what the freak you're doing, it wasn't perfect from day one.
No. Our first script was 1 page. And again, me coming from college, and I was like, all right.
Mine was too, by the way.
How am I going to sell my dad a policy, right? And so the script, I still laugh at this thing. I need to frame it.
Dude, you gotta put it
frame
out.
it.
You gotta put it out.
And it talked all about the company at the time that we were selling was Unity Financial, which has since been bought by Colombian. So I was going through, and they didn't even have a telesales department. They were letting us try it because SLS was their sole final expense producer. So anything Rory wanted, they were willing to do.
Okay.
And so the script was all about how large the company was. It's been around for 400 years. It's got this many millions of dollars in assets. Here's its S&B rating and all of this stuff that nobody cared about, right?
Yeah. And they still don't, by the way.
No, and they don't at all. And so it was 1 page, and it was that, and it was like a hard close and all this stuff, and it was a mess. And it took a long time and realizing that I couldn't do it by myself to figure it out. And that's when I started going and studying other call centers. So,
wow. What was it? What was it about the insurance industry that was so attractive back then to just really jump in and take a leap? And
honestly, it wasn't attractive,
Okay.
right? I mean, I don't think any of us.
No,
You might be the exception to the rule.
I probably am.
I don't think any of us grew up saying, when I grow up, I want to be an insurance agent,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like my son's not saying that, right? Like you want to be everything else. Like when I watched, the sexy sales was financial planning and real estate and all these things that get a lot of pizzazz, and insurance agents, I think, just historically get a bad rap. But like I said, he was the only I was like, I just need to, and this is a common theme, I'm sure we'll hit on it today. I was like, I need to find somebody who's successful, who's willing to let me follow them around, and I was willing to work for free, right? I just wanted to go show up somewhere and say, let me just see what you do every day and figure it out.
People like that. I've learned successful people that want to be part of the success society will do whatever the freak it takes, right? And it's not about the short-term immediate benefit typically, where most people, the big reason they probably fail is, they don't want to learn from anybody. They want instant gratification, instant money. It's like, I don't want to work hard, all this stuff. But that clearly wasn't the case for you, especially with no experience whatsoever in your organization on selling over the phone. To kind of provide some context before we move into your early days of telesales and your field sales operation and all that, director of ops at SLS, you guys you say you did over 25 million between call center and field sales last year.
Correct.
About a third of it is telesales. In the local call center, about 50 salespeople.
Yep.
Rocking and rolling. I went to SLS last month, and was there. Amazing culture, right? Talk through before we move into. Talk through your guys's. I want to eventually get into culture and mentorship. There's a lot of stuff I want to talk. I could do this for like 6 hours. Like there's a lot I want to talk through. We won't, in case you're wondering.
You and I could.
We could, bro. Dude, we easily could. Talk through the early days of telesales, because I think a lot of our viewers, especially members of Success Society, think, okay, I want to do telesales. You know, people like you and Ramirez, other people that are successful, it's a part of their business, you know. But a lot of successful people that's not the case.
Right.
Talk us through like the early days of telesales and how difficult it was and how you didn't know what to say. And, you know, when you said you were starting to model some call centers and learn and reach out, what did all that look like?
So, you know, at the time, like we said, I really just needed to figure this out. And, you know, I'm stubborn, and so, you know, I wasn't gonna quit.
Yeah.
And I was gonna make this work. It was very helpful to have somebody in the trenches with me, right? So without Grant, this wouldn't have happened. And without the
So if you'd have been alone, you don't think it would have worked?
it would have been tough.
Or longer?
It really, because there were some long days and some longer nights.
Yeah.
And some questioning, you know, life's decisions as I was eating a Hungry Howie's, you know, pizza that, you know, I got it.
I don't even know what that is.
They did $5 pizzas.
Okay.
And so you could buy it for lunch, eat half of it, and take it home, and then eat the rest for dinner. So it's like $2.50 meals.
Gotcha.
And that's why I got so overweight at one point. But
I want to get to that eventually too, like the self-discipline of that too. But.
And that was a big reason why we took off. The timing of it was no coincidence. But you know, like I said, I was fortunate to have Grant, and then even more importantly, his dad. His dad bankrolled the whole thing. He never paid us a penny outside of the commission that we made. He made us earn it all.
Why not? And are you glad he didn't?
I'm very, very glad because
hopefully that clicks with you, because I asked that question for a reason.
I mean, I don't know if there's agencies out there that pay people a base, but you know, if I knew at the end of the day that, you know, as a 22-year-old kid out of college, that like I was going to get $500 regardless of how hard I worked, I don't know how hard I would have worked, right? But I knew I was getting $0 unless I figured this out, unless I grinded, unless I did it. And so we had the benefit of having, you know, unlimited we call them the old dusty B leads, right? And they were all these old direct mail leads. And we were, you know, just rifling through boxes and just calling people and trying to figure it out. Like I said,
you weren't even working new leads?
No, not at the time. Not until we figured out, you know, how to do. Because, I mean, I know now. I mean, Rory would tell us they were new, but they were just leads that came in where they didn't have a field agent, right? And that's why he wanted to tell us. He was like, I got all these leads on the shelf. I got nobody to work them. You guys work them. But they could have been, you know, 8 months old. And we figured it out, but we figured it out, like I said, by, you know, having the humility to realize that I don't know everything. I don't even remotely know everything now at the time, and being willing to make those sacrifices and go find the people and hook up with the right people and figure that out. Because there was some call centers going on, and it didn't matter if it was, you know, Medicare or you know, health insurance or anything. I just needed to see a system and see a process that could be duplicated.
Do you remember some like personal production or personal records? I didn't prep you for this question. You may not know it. It's been a while. From back when you were selling your first, you know, several years on the phone, you know, doing the thing. Do you remember like some numbers of a great week, a great year, you know, a great day, whatever?
So I remember right before we decided we were ready to duplicate.
Okay.
Right. And so we had to show them some really big numbers. So I remember having that push month. It was December of, I think 2011 or 2012. It was December. So it was to end the year.
Okay. I
was trying to qualify for our trip. And we were getting ready to move out of a closet and into a little 8-room facility that could hold 8 people for a call center. And so that was my best month, and I did 52,000, and it's still in the top 10.
Wow.
For that, but probably not this month. As you know, we've had some pretty impressive numbers.
Yeah.
So and that took
52 freaking K.
I was not married yet. I didn't have kids yet, and so I was able to do nothing but sit there and just work. So, it was just cranking it out.
52K, B leads, hand dialing, not in a prior system without experience. Eventually, you had some. Obviously, you
By
52K,
2011, we were
how many-
no longer burning CDs. That was good, so.
How many years had you been doing telesales at that point?
3.
Okay. Wow, dude, that's a big freaking number. I mean, that's amazing. Well, and you got people doing. You got somebody doing.
I would say that was a big deal then.
Yeah.
Not a big deal now.
You like how he said that.
It's not. Almost every one of Grant and I's records are gone, and I couldn't be happier to say that.
Totally. Totally.
So
that's one thing you guys do too. Really good job. Okay, so let's fast forward on to starting to build out an organization, internal call center. What's that look like? You said you were ready to duplicate. What were the steps you took? I'm sure there were some early frustrating moments because you're probably struggling to find as most people deal with.
Yeah, and we say this today. I work harder and more hours, and you just never stop now than I did as an agent. Everyone thinks it's like, oh, I'm going to get into team building.
They do. Oh,
and
you probably still think that.
And then I'm going to be able to sit back, and there are probably some that do.
I'm going to be Pablo Escobar and rule the world.
Careful how I say things, but it's like if I guess if all you were doing was just offering contracts out there and sitting back and hoping to collect, then I guess it would be pretty easy.
Yeah.
But because we're a call center, because we don't have any remote call center reps, and we don't ever intend to. You're there all day, every day. I spend more time with my agents than I do my family, and they are my family. We are the SLS family. We say that all the time. I mean, I eat more meals with them than I do, because we'll have breakfast, we'll have lunch incentives and stuff. We go on vacations together. I've had a lot of my core team builders, they come to my house for Thanksgiving and spend time with my family. And so I know their kids, they know my wife and kids and all that. So I think that's so important because I say all the time, I don't know how many people are watching this right now or will watch it, but we're all doing the same thing. And so there is no magic formula per se as far as
if there was,
I guess all the time,
like,
hey man, can you have my script? Like, yeah, sure, you can have my script because it's not going to work for you like it does for us, because it's
why not?
It's just being in that atmosphere and understanding, and being able to be uplifted at all times and working with people and you and I are sitting here making calls together and I can hear your voice inflection. It reminds me to keep myself going. We've got, mirrors reminding us to smile, posters and stuff like you guys do here. And you're surrounded by people that can, uplift you and remind you even when you're not making a sale and someone else does that keeps you going. We do training every single day. So
I may have to fly to SLS and join the call center for a month just to see if I can hang with those massive records, man. That's cool. That's really cool. What's one thing that you notice about building a team and finding people that really sticks out to you as something that you really learned? Because most people don't find the person they're looking for as quick as they want to, or maybe they don't know how to look. Do you guys use the DISC assessment? Like, walk us through finding talented people. And
if I knew how to figure out if somebody was going to be successful or not, life would be so much easier.
Tell me about it.
Great. It's probably not great, but it's almost like, we were just talking about fantasy football. It's like we'll interview somebody, and Grant and I have had so many conversations where we'll end the interview and they'll have done a whole day watching the call center and all this, and they'll go home. Grant and I will be texting each other tonight, be like, bro, that is the next rock star. Like, that person's going to break this person's record, or this person, they're going to build they're talking about team building, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Don't even make a sale, right? Like, no work ethic, like, just completely,
that's
BS
what happens.
And all that. And then we've, interviewed people who are, we have a pretty high qualification for the trip. And here's an example of why I don't pretend to know what makes people successful or not. We have a 80-year-old who,
Oh, wow.
within 7 months, qualified to go on our incentive trip for free, and outwrote probably half the room. Now,
And they're 80.
I guess she won't watch it, but I would say in that interview, I was
She's
just like,
80.
I was like, in that interview, I remember leaving. I was like, we really want to put her through this. Like, I almost felt bad, right? But
I'm
she
with
was
you.
like,
I'm with you.
I need something to do. My husband passed away. Like, I was retired, but like now
Wow.
I need to make money and all that. And she kills it. And she's got a better
That's
work
awesome.
ethic than some of the 25-year-olds we have. So
what's
what's
our excuse, right?
I say all that to say is that if somebody comes to me and can sell me that they're ready for the opportunity, who am I to say yes or no to them? And that's no different than sales, right? It's about getting in front of enough people to where you can say, okay, this person really seems energetic about it.
Yeah.
And so that we're not desperate, right? I don't mean it to say, we'll hire anybody that walks in the door. But
Right.
if we decide that we think this person can be a good fit.
Is there a question you ask to like, or something to help you find someone with the right type of work ethic? Because that's super tough to find. And I'll give you some context. So, for instance, like there's certain stuff that we look for, and I won't tell everything because I probably shouldn't. And if you knew what I was talking about, you would know why. When we're looking at hiring someone, obviously we check their social media account. I have someone go out and look in their car.
For the field side, that's always happens. Yeah.
That's good.
Do you have a clean car?
Yep.
Doesn't have to be new or
No,
if
if it's got 82 McDonald's bags in it, it's
Right.
like, dude, that is not okay.
how are your leads going to look, right?
Yeah, yeah. We have them do a disc assessment now. We didn't used to. I give them. I try to give them opportunities to be like negative and like bash people just to see if they'll take it. See if they'll take the bait. Back to that question though. How do you find? And I still don't know the answer, and you probably don't either. Like the freaking work ethic, man. Like that's more important than anything else. Like your top agent right now is not the most talented person in your call center, and you'll say it all day,
But she will outwork everybody, and we've talked about some of the things that I think make people successful. And sales individuals are, it's like high school in there. I mean, it's 50 type A personalities, right? So
Yeah.
So
So that is true.
oh yeah.
Yeah. So high D, high I,
Mm-hmm.
at least,
And I guess the problem is people can fake that, right? You can tell if somebody's not that type of person easier than you can say, than predict their success.
Right.
But
You're probably not going to get a high C that they would ever jump into that sales atmosphere, dial all day for, commission only anyway.
right, and because we have staff, then it's easier for us. And sometimes we misplace somebody, and we're able to make that switch. Some people need the structure; they need the 8 to 5 routine, and they don't want the pressure of the sales. And then some people we put into that atmosphere, and they're just crawling to get out because they're seeing people make this money and do all this, and like, why am I not doing that? And so we have a little bit of an easier way to if somebody we really want to work with somebody, and we don't have a lot of people that come out of a structured environment their whole life and college degrees and all that stuff. I think a big indicator of success is somebody that has something to prove, a little bit of a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
Maybe was doubted at some point, but show success in some way, whether it's sports or academics can be that, even if it was high school or something. So
You bring up a super good point. I like ex-athletes for sales. What's your opinion on that?
I think when I think about it, the only thing I always thought about insurance is I feel like there's more like former NFL and NBA people in insurance and or financial like advising than anything else.
Yeah.
Because they're sociable and they have a good personality because they're used to being the center of attention, and B, like you said, they're super competitive.
Mm-hmm. Yep. How do you determine if someone's is there anything you do? Because I've always thought about, like, before I hire someone, like giving them a chance to prove themselves by going and calling people, or well, Cardone used to like literally make people put them through like a trial and make them dial a bunch before they even like hired them, and just to see if they would put in the work.
So two things we do is I'll sit down and have a conversation with them and just see, can we connect on a personal level, right? Because at the end of the day, I always say we're in the people business, not the insurance business. So can they sell me on just their personality? Because if they can't sell me, they're not going to sell our clients. So if they pass that test, then they're going to spend an entire day before we talk about anything else, right? I know you got a lot of questions, but let me just show you what we do. So I take them in there, and they'll spend an entire day in the call center. Our system is set up to where you can hear anybody in the room. You can just click in, hear them on the phone, but you can also hear the client. And
so they can just listen to people.
Right. And so I always say at the end of that, one of two things is going to happen. Within an hour, you're going to freak out and get up and leave. And that's fine. That's okay, because some people start to hear the rejection and all that, and they get worried and they leave. Or you're going to finish there and be like, that's really all you guys do? Like, where do I sign up? And then the second thing
that's freaking good
that we do is we hire very few licensed agents. I know that's contrary to a lot. I mean, the low-hanging fruit is, hey, they're licensed, they can start tomorrow.
Yeah.
But,
you don't want the bad habits, do you?
Yeah, and it's just I've had too many experiences where they come in and they want to tell me how to do it, and I don't know how to remind them. Like, you came to me for a job, not the other way around. So like, if what you did worked, it would have worked where you were, and
you would still be there. You wouldn't be asking me for a job,
right? And negativity spreads 100 times faster than positivity, right? It's kind of like it's so easy to light a match and start a forest fire, but like it takes way more water than that, you know what I mean, to put it out. And so I shy away from that. And so I guess what I said is to test how self-motivated they are is we have, and here's a nugget I didn't share on the other stuff is when they do their online licensing, I make them pay for it. And if they finish it in 10 days, and the site we use has a guarantee exam, so a money back. If you pass that, you'll get your money back if you fail the state exam. If they pass that in 10 days, and I can track their progress and I can see what they did every day, then I'll not only reimburse them for that, but I'll pay for the rest of their licensing.
Wow.
And so there's that. Let me see how competitive you are, right? So the course is structured to be finished in 10 days. If you do it in 10 days or less, I pay for it. If you do it in over 10 days, you pay for it. And inevitably what happens is once you hit that 11th and 12th day, you never finish it.
Yeah.
Right? And so then I didn't put any skin in the game because I didn't sign it up. But that's such a good indicator of somebody that is self-motivated and is going to get out there and do it. Because I don't text. Like that's my test, right? I'm not going to every day be like, how's the class coming?
Are you studying?
You taking some classes? Like, you got your license yet? And the ones that are going to be the most successful, like the agent we were talking about, this number one is like, she was blowing me up. Hey, I only got 82% done today. I'm like, it's day one. That's really good. But she wanted to finish it in a day.
Could you tell she was going to be a monster?
Yes, and she was unique. She had call center experience, not insurance experience. So she was unlicensed when she came, and she was overworked and underpaid at her previous opportunity. So
what's her biggest month ever?
I think 57, 58.
How do you not smile when you know what I mean? Like, how do that's just freaking great. I love that.
She's probably going to break it this month.
Gosh. She did 20K last week, something like that.
Yep. Just at 20,800. She is on a mission right now to just set she wants.
You think she could get to 80
on every record book?
You think she could get to 80? 20 a week, 4 weeks in a row?
Probably. I mean, her goal now is a record she wants to break this week is 10,000 in a day, which has never been done.
What's her biggest day ever?
It's been done in the field, never been done on the phone.
Yeah.
27,000 is her biggest week. Her biggest day was yesterday. That's what made her say that. She did 8,600 yesterday.
My gosh.
And that and I know this is a tangent, but that goes in because she had a 21,000 AP week last week. So much of that carries over, right? We talk about this all the time and talking about needing a coach and stuff. So the owner of our company mentored me for a long time, and he preached consistency and doing the same thing every single day. And then Coach Burt, who we both work with, he talks about chop wood, carry water, long obedience in the same direction, right? And so because she was just nonstop grinding, didn't take breaks for anything, forgot to eat, she would have slept in the office if I let her. You don't get all the sales in that week. And so inevitably what happens is the people that you didn't quite finish, or the people that weren't answering or whatever, that rolled over. So she came into Monday, ready to go. And it's a snowball effect, right?
Yep.
So,
gosh, that's awesome. That's so good. That should challenge all of us to think a little bigger, right? Because she's put up 57K. Most agents don't put up 57K in a year, let alone 6 months, let alone a quarter. Never a month.
And she is on
and she's still not satisfied.
She's on a tear that I'm not sure will be matched in a long time, because we have this is out there on the internet for anybody to see. We have something called the Ultimate Challenge. So it's 6 months, and we love competitive stuff. So all that is whoever is the number one salesperson in that 6 month window gets $12,000 cash. Second place gets $8,000. Third place gets $6,000. So he pays out the top 20, and it's his favorite thing in the world. You can go watch all our videos.
I've seen it. He counts it out.
He loves it. Hundreds
into
of the
into the trophy.
Into the trophy.
It's cool.
And she won it in January, meaning so from July of last year through December, she outwrote the entire company. So she outwrote 200 and almost 50 agents. Got paid in January, $12,000. Historically, what happens is everybody goes, right, just got $12,000. I just worked 7 days a week for 6 months to beat everybody.
$12,000 cash.
Right. So let me take a step back. We gotta have it's fun. We pay a bodyguard to handcuff the briefcase, and he walks in, and then unlocks it and gives it to him. It's great. But she went back to the office that Monday, and broke her previous record for a week, and so then she won it again in July. And I don't think anybody will catch her this. So she will if she does it, she'll be the first person to ever three-peat. We've had some two-peats, but never three-peat.
Wow.
So,
gosh.
24,000, and she won a car. So
she won a car?
Yeah, we gave a car away. She won it. So.
What kind of car was that?
It was a brand new Honda Civic.
Wow.
We wrapped it in SLS stuff and everything.
So it wasn't like a, 91 Geo Metro. It was like an actual, new car.
Right, and we've been doing these contests because obviously field agents, are putting a lot of wear and tear on the car.
And then the call center agent wins it.
Yeah, and she lives equal opportunity. So she lives less than 3 minutes from the office.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But still, she was able to sell her other cars, so then she got whatever cash she got from that and everything. I say that to say, and this was the point I was going to make. So the reason her best day ever was yesterday was twofold. A, yesterday was the first day I told her that I was coming here. So she fangirled out about me seeing you, and so she wanted to make sure I brought her up as many times as possible. As you know, she sat front and center. She's a big fan. And
that's cool.
And then secondly, we did that we proved a point yesterday. So we were doing the $500 challenge, and she got mad that the spotlight got shifted and he was starting to sell. So she sat over there and basically said, I don't need $500 to incentivize me. She wanted to make sure she was agent of the day. And in turn, what we did, what Grant and I did, ended up not only giving him his best day ever, but gave her her best day ever. So it's pretty cool.
Wow. Dude, we need to, Dylan, I need to contract with them for a day and in video and spend a week there. I don't know, dude. I would freaking love that, dude. That would be so much fun. I better get to
try and break some records,
dude. Shoot. I don't know if I doubt I can keep up with you, let alone your girl. We got a bunch of questions, so I better get to them because we're 36 minutes in, and again we could go 6 hours because we always just have a blast.
I could go for all.
This is good too. This is freaking good. This is one of the better ones we've had. No lie, this has been unbelievable. First question, since we've been talking about telesales, Eric DeJohn says, "What are your best rebuttals, scripts, and tonality that you use in the telesales process? That's many things in one, but
Yeah. What's up, Eric? Got to meet him in Dallas.
that's right, 8%.
First of all, you should be giving me advice because the numbers that were given out in Dallas is insane. So I don't know how you can get better, but
but he's someone that's never satisfied either, because as good as he was doing, now he's only doing telesales, and that was all field sales. And he was putting up some stupid numbers, and now he's like, I'm going to do this instead.
That's awesome. So it's funny, when we first started, and this is a good little nugget for you guys. I had my cubicle wall, kind of like you guys out there. So we set up the cubicle things because it was me here and then Grant, and then there was about no more space in there, and I taped all over the place, every rebuttal I could find, and this was pre-Facebook groups, so I was in like insuranceforum.net and like all these places, trying to find everything, and I'd find different reps, and a mentor of mine who works in a call center as well had sent me some stuff. Anyways, I had every rebuttal I'd ever thought of in like rebuttal answer 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wow.
And that was early on, right? That was 1-page script me. That was 3-page script me. That was me not understanding the psychology and the nuances. And you can be successful because I could just outwork it, and you're still going to find the same. If you talk to enough people, you will find, if you
could say, hello, would you like to buy final expense?
If you just if you just sat in front of Walmart all day and every person that walked by said, can I talk to you about life insurance? Somebody's going to say, wow, absolutely. I actually need some. So sales will always be there. We call those, cupcakes.
Yep.
And so I had all these rebuttals, and I thought I was so witty and clever with my rebuttals and had all these clever responses. But it wasn't until I truly learned that we're in the people business, and the rebuttals were really just them being unsure about me and just not quite, the trust wasn't quite there.
So you don't think every objection they ever say is like totally valid?
Right. And I would come up with these like rock solid, for anyone that watches Boiler Room, right? Like I used to love that. Like, oh, do you call your wife before, you fill up your gas tank? And I was like, no one's going to buy after I say these things. All I'm doing is insulting them, and they dig their heels in more. So I know that's not a good answer, but you probably talk a lot here about your 3 A's. And we similar call it AIO.
Okay.
So agree, isolate, and then overcome.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
And so the biggest tip I can give to people with rebuttals is to just agree with them 100%.
That's so good.
We cover so many rebuttals before, like if you can cover them before they come up. So for instance, a lot of the biggest one we get selling final expense is, it all sounds great and everything, but I'm on a fixed income and I can't really afford this. Obviously I've learned, and if you're new, you don't understand this, but at the time I truly believed that, they didn't have two nickels to rub together. And I quickly learned that, and in the field it helps. So Eric's seen this a lot. This person's saying this, and they've got NFL Sunday Ticket on, right? So they're paying $250 a month to DirecTV for cable and $100 for Sunday Ticket. They've got the plasma TV. They've got a new car in there. They've got a carton of cigarettes sitting on the table, but they can't afford that. But you can't sit there and tell them, oh, you're telling me $40 a month isn't as important as that TV, because now you're insulting them.
Yeah.
And so we, in that regard, all we did was we started saying ahead of time, in the beginning of our presentation, once we do our warm-up and get to know them, we have a line that goes something like, Mr. Jones, I'm sure you're like most of my clients where you're on a fixed income, and these programs are designed exactly for folks just like you that are on a fixed income, so that we can find something that works for everybody. And then we'll continue to move on. And all you're doing is getting them to subconsciously agree with that, so that it's a lot harder for them to then throw that out
I'm
you
on a fixed income.
later on, and you don't even realize it. And so between learning how to cover some of those things on the front end, and then B, when they do come up, just agree. And you preach that all the time. And it doesn't matter what it is, but it's if you don't want to get in a boxing match, right? They threw a punch at you, and they're sitting here ready, like, okay, what's this guy going to say next? And if you're just like, couldn't agree with you, Miss Moore, I couldn't agree with you more, Miss Jones. It's so disarming that they can't come up with what to say next because that wasn't the real objection, anyways.
Yeah, it wasn't real, and most of the salespeople they talk to aren't that good, so they're expecting some response that's going to tick them off, and then the conversation is going to be over.
Right.
And
if you truly couldn't afford this, you wouldn't be talking to me on the phone.
No,
you'd be
or
like trying to get the lights turned back on, or your cell phone would be shut off, or you'd be.
Or if you didn't have time, you wouldn't have answered the phone to begin with.
Exactly.
Because if the kid called, you'd be still talking to your kid. You wouldn't tell your kid, I'm too busy to talk to you. It's like, yeah.
And we said this earlier. Brad Lee had a great podcast he did or interview or one of his sales trainings, and I think he put it on Instagram too. And he was talking about he works a lot with Ashley Furniture, is one of his big clients, and he does sales training for them. And he said it was just so hard working with the salespeople because they would all have somebody walk in the door and be like, "Oh, can I help you find anything?" "No, just looking."
Yeah.
And
who's not
he says it a little bit more
tasteful.
Yeah, than I can hear, but in a nutshell, he basically said, "Who was the last person you knew that said, 'Honey, you know what I want to do on Saturday? I just want to go look at couches. We don't need a new couch. I just want to go see I just want to go sit on a bunch of couches.'" Like, you don't go couch surfing. You don't go, like, a lot of us, we preach in here, like, visualize your goal. So it's like, yeah, you might go drive your dream car and you have no intention of buying the Range Rover today. You just want to go test drive it. But when was the last time you walked into Mattress Barn and like laid on a mattress? And it was like, one day, like, you don't. And so he goes through that whole thing of understanding that that's just instinctively what we all say. So many objections are just an instinct.
Mm-hmm.
And so on telesales, we'll draw a line for people and say your point A to point B, your one standard deviation. You can tell I was a math nerd. Above or below that, if you get away from that, then it's hard to come back to the sale because now you're just friends. But with those objections, we'll agree 100% with them, and then we'll go back in time a little bit and kind of go backwards in your script and basically say, like, "Now, there's anything you didn't quite understand, Ms. Jones, let me just reiterate again," and you just move on to something.
It's almost like I do this with appointment setting sometimes. It's almost like saying something that almost just like takes their brain off of what they said, and it maybe doesn't even make any sense, or it's just a random weird question, but it flips them. It just totally moves what they were thinking to like something new. All of a sudden.
My go-to was always beneficiary. So if they gave me an objection, I always did a good enough job warming up that I already assumptively knew who the beneficiary was going to be. And so I could either assume it, or if we've already talked about it, I'll just go back to it. I need to talk to my kids. I couldn't agree more, Ms. Jones. In fact, I actually was going to encourage you that when I get all this information out to you, you actually sit down and go over it with them, because what good is this to have if they don't even know you have it when that time does come? So it's a 30-minute conversation. It's not comfortable. I hated having it with my mom, and you should do that. Now, when that time does come and the good Lord does, call you home, you wanted Susie, right? Because she's the one that lives nearby, and she's the one that comes. So she's kind of the responsible one, right? And they'll be like, yeah. And then
that's good.
We never even go back to it.
It's good. That's so good. You still got it, bro.
Yeah. You got to. I mean, you got to get on the phones all the time. So, we help close deals all the time. I just don't pay myself to do it. We just always have them take the sale. Yeah.
That's awesome. Neil says, what are the biggest mistakes you see agents make?
The single biggest one, I think it's just work ethic. I say this all the time. There's nothing. That was impressive. There's nothing super special about me or Grant or what we do. I believe that. Maybe other people might disagree, but what we do is we're consistent with what we do, and I lead from the front, so I try and I am the first one in the office. a proud member of the 5 a.m. club.
Boom.
So I'm always the first one to the office, which gives me time to get stuff done before everyone gets there. We do training every single morning, and it's all about structure and accountability. So, you've got to have more people to talk to than you've got time in a day. You just have to. If you don't have that, I don't care if it's telesales or field. If you don't have that, then it gets awfully difficult, to be successful, because it's a numbers game at the end of the day.
Yep, totally. That's good. Nick also says, "Hey, I'm wanting to build a telecenter, as well as have field agents. What advice do you have?" Start with one, maybe.
Yeah, and if not, obviously get really good at both. I don't know your specific situation, Nick, but the hardest thing for us is I can tell now. I can't tell who's going to be successful. We talked about that, but I can tell when we have an agent where they're going to be better.
How do you know? That's a good topic.
I'm not always right, but there are certain people. Our number one telesales agent would bomb in the field, and I don't mean that in a bad way. She wouldn't bomb. She would outwork it, but she would not hit nearly the numbers she hit, and it's because she is. I'm a caffeine addict, but she takes it to a whole nother level. I think if I could, I think it's natural. If I could just bottle it and sell it, I'd be retired. But I think that would scare clients, right? And we talk about on the phone. Here's a telesales tip for everybody. You have to be the example we give all the time when we're training is, and I grew up, I loved wrestling, so your morning thing is similar. I'm a big Ric Flair guy, so I was like, woo! You got to get fired up. But if you look at old school, or even wrestling today, I just don't watch it anymore, but the WWE, they are so over the top.
Yep.
Right? And I'm also I love Broadway shows. My mom was a theater major, so I grew up with her showing that. If you take a moment, if you can sit there, if you've seen enough theater, and you just focus on one singular person and just focus on exactly what they're doing, and you pulled them off stage and just sat them right next to you and it is so over the top, right? If anybody took theater, like the hand gestures and the facial expressions and everything's just like so accentuated. Mm-hmm. And so in telesales, you have to do that, right? My voice inflection on the phone I learned that really quickly because they can't see my hands. They can't see my facial expressions. I can't touch them. I can't react to anything. And so I have to do it all through my voice. And so she is that, and she's that 10X. Wow. And I think if you put that in a house and they were bouncing all over the place, in a home, you've got so many other tools at your disposal, right? You can make eye contact. You can, do some of these things. They can't hang up on you, right? Like if you sound like hey, Ms. Jones, my name's James Whitley. I'm calling with Senior Life Services. You requested some information on some final expense programs and plans, and I just wanted to call to verify. Click. But that happens so often, right? Where you're just sitting there and you're trying to, they just told me to read the script. And you forget that. So I say that to say is that, when you're having a conversation with people, you can see who is maybe a little monotone and flat, but they can sell it with their face and their hands and all that. And you can see the people who, I don't mean this to be mean, but maybe visually are a little disheveled, maybe don't dress as nice or take care of themselves as much, and
face for radio.
Exactly. But then the voice will translate, right? And so it's unique to see those differences there, but it gets tough, and that's why I said we don't. That's one of the many reasons we don't do any remote sales reps. So.
Eric DeJohn said, "Studs, killing it. Let's go." He also said he liked the suit at one point. Zach says, besides work ethic and positivity.
Love you, Eric.
Yeah. What personality trait do all of your most successful producers share, field or phone, besides work ethic and positivity? What's the personality trait that you believe that all of them share? I think I know where you may take this to.
I think there's a couple. One of them, and I hesitate to share this on here, but is all the most successful ones. I think we all struggle with balance, and we'll tip the scales pretty hard in one direction, and I think you have to be successful here.
Yeah.
A
little bit obsessed.
The
addictive personality.
yeah, and the joke is like somebody says like, oh man, my job's got me working 60 hours a week, and the joke I was saying is, I remember my first part-time job.
Yeah.
Because it's like I work all the time.
Totally.
And you never stop. So I answer the phone at 11 o'clock at night because I don't know what one of my agents needs.
Wow.
And the other personality trait, I'm very blessed. My wife is very understanding and supportive of what I do, but there is no off time for me. I still find time for her and my son and everything. But the other trait I think is a memory of a goldfish.
This is really good.
Yeah.
You guys done?
And
No. We're not done. But we're close to done.
and I say that, yeah.
So sorry.
And Landon wants to come answer the question.
Dude, get in here, bro. Come on. We could go for 6 hours. This is so good.
I thought I heard you say you're done. So
No, you're good.
But anyways, the memory of the goldfish comment I wanted to make is that you have to have thick skin, and you've got to be able to understand that you will get infinitely more no's than you will get yeses. We're talking about if just using call center, that's because what I know the best is if you're going to make 140 calls in a day, you're going to get a good majority of those people that are going to say some really awful things to you. I have heard insults and language and curse words and racial slurs and stuff that I did not know existed. I had to Google things before because I didn't know what they were saying. And you've got to be able to just 3 seconds later forget that it happened, because it only takes one yes to make all the no's. So we have an expression like, the joker's always in the deck, meaning that when you get handed that deck of cards, if you know you're going to get $500 when you find both jokers, if you get a brand new deck of cards, both jokers are at the bottom. So maybe the deck didn't get shuffled. So if you flip 20 cards over and you're like, oh, that Cody guy, sent me these leads. There's no joker in these leads. Like it's his fault. Well, you didn't flip all the cards over. I told you I'll give you $500 if you find both jokers. And so understanding that, the 2 is going to be somebody cursing at you. The, king is going to be, somebody who just medically doesn't qualify for anything but expects to get $20 a month for $100,000.
Yep.
But you just got to find the yeses. So that's a really long answer, but I think
really
you've got to understand that every no gets you that much closer to a yes. And so I tracked my numbers so hard that I celebrated a no because I just needed to talk to people. I knew if I talked to enough people, I'd get a yes, and I knew, every 3 no's would get me a yes.
Do you know the numbers as far as I know you talked about TPS, stuff like that, 140 dials. I'm going to talk to so many people, make so many presentations, make so many sales. Have you guys noticed it from some of your agents on, certain dials and all that?
Yeah, so the goal isn't, I clarify that. The goal is not to make 140 calls every day.
Okay.
Right? The goal technically would be to make 3 calls.
Okay.
Be on the phone for an hour on every single call, make 3 sales, and be at 3,000 AP before lunch. That would be the goal.
Yeah.
Right. We don't want to be dialing, because when you're not on the phone, we have an expression: when you're not on the phone, you're unemployed. Because we're all 1099, so you're only employed when you're actually on a job, and you're not on a job until you're talking to somebody. But those numbers mean that it's very difficult with our lead system, and hopefully even better now, where you can dial 140 numbers in a day and not be on the phone all day long.
Right.
So we use that number as if it is just Armageddon out there and everybody's sending you to voicemail, everybody's cursing you out, everybody's hanging up on you, show me 140 numbers dialed, because then at least we know you got all your no's out of the way today, and tomorrow will be better. But don't come to me and say I called 22 leads, nobody answered, this isn't for me.
This is awful.
Like, no.
James, it's all your fault.
You got to call 140 people. Now, most people won't hit that number.
Yeah.
Right? Our number one, she doesn't hit 140. She hits 140 less days than she doesn't.
If you're making that many sales, how do you get?
Because she's on presentations, right? So, she'll have the $500 thing we did yesterday. He made, or 2 days ago now it was, he made 119 calls and had 6.5 hours of talk time.
And a $5,800 a day, something like that. That's big.
But it was just changing his mentality here, right? So he couldn't even get to 140 because he was too busy making deals, right?
Yeah.
But it was just that mindset he had. So
Mike says, hey, how do you keep retention up? Have you guys noticed a difference between field and phone?
Yeah, it's a little bit higher for us, but and
in the field?
Well, for our retention's higher in the call center
Than in the field.
And I guess that's a little bit of a humble brag because that's not traditionally true. But I think it's a culture thing, because we have unlicensed agents, because they go get their license, they're willing to invest X amount of time on the front end. And our system's unique, as you know, and everyone's different, but there's no money required by our agents. They make zero investment. So instead of starting every week in the hole or, trying to work their way out or all these marketing costs or gas or anything, as long as you can get to the office, that's the only expense you have is how do you get to the office.
Wow.
So our retention is very high, and it's because I answer the phone at 11 o'clock at night. It's because I know if it's Wednesday and you're at zero, like you're at home eating ramen, freaking out right now. So let me reach out to you as a person, as a human, and let's just talk about life and talk about that and make sure that, you don't stay up all night like crying, watching, Office reruns on Netflix. And instead, like, we make a plan to where, like, I got you tomorrow. You and I are going to sit down together. We're going to make calls together. We're going to make deals. And, I've gone as far as to say, if you, the TPS report's important because I say, if you come in and for 5 days straight hit 3 hours or 140 dials and you don't make a $500 check, I will personally pay you $500. And so I give them that as say, I'll but I've never once to this day, may happen one day, I've never once paid anybody.
3 days in a row, $140 or 3 hours of talk time. Wow.
Because they always end up, we did it just in one day, $500 or if you do everything we ask you to do.
Yeah.
And so that's, I think, what, to answer that question, to keep retention up, is understanding that it's more than just sit down and dial, let's go. It's accountability, it's culture, it's all of that stuff. And none of that would be possible if I didn't have the system that I was able to plug into. I couldn't have built this myself. I just couldn't have. People keep saying, "Oh, you and Grant built Telos." No, we didn't. We found a vessel that we could attach ourselves to where we had all the support, all the training, all the knowledge, all the leads, all the stuff that needed to get figured out was already figured out for us. All we had to do was figure out how to take this system that worked face to face and realize that there weren't that many differences and do it over the phone. So
I think it's one of the coolest things I like about you is you just always give credit to other people. I love that. I love that.
I wouldn't be, like I said, I would not be here if it weren't for them. So
that's great. Gosh, I love that. Dude, this has been good, man. Any final thoughts for the troops, for the Success Society, before we go eat some sushi?
I mean, I didn't know we were getting sushi. I'm excited.
You like sushi?
I do. If Jared's freaking out.
Jared doesn't like sushi. They got some good teriyaki chicken, bro. Filet mignon, something.
If you are, I guess word of wisdom is if you are watching this, then that means you're in this. And if you're in this, then that means you are already doing what, we'll keep the theme going, what 92% of agents wouldn't do, which is understand that you are not some savant. You are not some all-knowing genius that, like, you're going to take the insurance world by storm. There are a lot of people that are smarter than me, that can work harder than me, that can do this. But if you surround yourself with the right people and you find coaches, right? I spend a lot of money on mentors and coaches.
I thought you were going to give a number.
Yeah, no, I just
you thought about it.
Yeah. But now
it's a lot,
right? And
it's a lot more than what we pay for this.
I work harder now. I work more hours now. I travel more now. I do more now than I ever did before. It's because A, I'm not satisfied, but B, like, you know, I mean, just like finding you and landing, you know, like I said, we do $25 million. It will hopefully, you know, exceed that. I don't know what I should have looked at our exact projections. We always end the year strong, but
I told them the biggest months were into December.
Everyone's trying to qualify for the trip, trying to win Ultimate Challenge, trying to do all this stuff. And by the way, guys, holidays are the best time to sell. So if you guys think you're about to come into the hard time, my best weeks were Thanksgiving and Christmas and all that stuff.
Thank you for saying that.
Do not start freaking out about holidays. A lot of people aren't working, and B, we're selling people peace of mind. And so like Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday, but like it's a holiday where, especially if you're on all it's about is family. So like what better time to get people to think about their loved ones and do all that. So anyways, that's that. But to do 25 million, say, hey, I'm not some narcissistic guy that says I can do this better than others. Like I realize I tried. There's still that competitive nature in me. I tried to figure out how to market and do leads and do all that stuff. And we realized like my time is better spent building up agents, working on them as you know, the whole person theory that we talk about. And I'm going to let you two turkeys do all the Googling and figuring out that stuff. And that is turning out to most likely be, you know, one of the better decisions we made. And,
wow.
You know, and so that's my little is don't try and be Superman. You know, and you know, find strategic partnerships, find people that'll get in the trenches with you, find people that are doing it better than you. You know, my favorite expression still is you're the average of the 10 closest people to you. You know, and so sometimes you've got to.
I need to keep you close to me then.
You need to remove two people. That's why I keep you close though. You need to remove two people, right? Sometimes and find two people that are, you know, light years ahead of you to put in, you know, that circle.
Who'd you get rid of to put me and Landon in there?
Your first and last name.
First and last names, yeah.
Well, and that's tough. You know, that's tough as you get some of you guys
tough
as you get successful. And I guarantee I'm feel bad. I'm giving Eric all the spotlight, but it's the only person I know that I've met. I'm sure he's dealt with it, where when you start putting yourself out there and you start getting success, when you start making money, people you thought were your friends, people you thought were your family, quickly, you know, Cardone, you know, said this a lot, and it's helped me, and I know a lot of people, and Gary Vee now preaches all the time. But, you know, they go through those stages where, like, at first they, like, feel sorry for you. Like, oh, that's cute. Like, look at him trying to do this, putting himself out there, blah, blah, blah. And then they get, like, that angry jealousy, you know, where they just say, like, oh, you know, I get all the time, like, oh, you know, James over there and his, you know, scam and, you know, pyramids, MLM or pyramids. Oh, yeah, and the bow tie, which really sets people off. And, you know, Colonel Sanders is what I get a lot. And then it comes full circle.
Tell
right?
them, you know what? Like Colonel Sanders, I took someone that worked at Chick-fil-A and turned them into a six-figure earner. You know, Instead they would have had to work their way up to like the corporate ladder. Instead, they just came and joined the call center.
Chick-fil-A is not only the only fast food I will eat anymore, but it's the best place to recruit. They have an incredible training program. So, you know, Uber and
best
Chick-fil-A.
Fast food and best for prospecting for
Uber and Chick-fil-A. There's my little tidbit. If you're trying to find an agent, get somebody that when you request an Uber, it says like 12,000 trips completed. That means they're hustling, you know.
Well, and they invest in themselves.
Right.
Gas money, you know.
And they know you only make money with Uber if you take all the trips. So you got to be a grinder to do that.
That's good. Wow, dude, this was good, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Huge thanks to James Whitley, Success Society Monthly Coaching with a Co-host. I love doing this every single month. We're going to keep investing in you, pouring into you. You keep doing the same for you. I love Success Society. I love where it's going. If you're still on a free trial, it's time to commit, man. You heard it here first from Mr. James Whitley. He invested in himself. He believes in coaches. He believes in mentors. And he believes that stuff like this is how you can take you to the next level. Thanks for being on. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate all the. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for all the comments, questions, the live chat, all the dozens of people have been watching. Thank you so much. Have a great night. We'll see you this next Monday for the weekly accountability call. Appreciate you guys.